Hi, I recently had a major conflict with my sister-in-law that's led to a complete family fallout. As a nurse in the emergency department at Boston Memorial, I'm used to handling crises, but this was different. I'm Sarah, 28, an nurse, and I've been with Michael, 28, who's an emergency physician at the same hospital, for 4 years now. The drama centers around his sister Jessica, 26, who's made a name for herself as a lifestyle influencer with a decent social media following. From the day Michael introduced me to his family, Jessica's had it out for me because of her best friend Ashley. Ashley and Jessica have been inseparable since middle school, probably because they're cut from the same cloth. They both run lifestyle blogs now, constantly chasing likes and followers. What complicates things is that Ashley and Michael dated on and off during his college years. Michael always made it clear they weren't compatible. He was focused on med school while she was building her social media presence. But Jessica kept pushing them together, convinced they were meant to be. They're perfect for each other, she would insist, completely ignoring Michael's feelings. Ashley understands our family's lifestyle. You two just make sense together. But Michael saw it differently. He'd tell me later, I need someone who understands what it means to be in medicine, who gets the long hours and emotional toll. Ashley just wanted content for her blog. When we started dating, meeting through mutual friends in the hospital, Jessica immediately decided I wasn't good enough for her brother. She didn't even try to get to know me or see how happy Michael was. All that mattered was that I wasn't Ashley, her influencer best friend, who she thought belonged in their social circle. Over these 4 years, I've had to interact with Ashley at family events since she's considered part of the family through Jessica. When they're together, they're constantly taking selfies and making snide remarks. Ashley never misses a chance to give us dirty looks, especially when she sees Michael and me in our scrubs, coming off a long shift together. But I've learned to brush it off. Michael and I connect on a deeper level. We understand each other's dedication to our patients and the realities of emergency medicine. That's something neither Jessica nor Ashley could ever grasp. Wedding planning. Even when Michael and I got engaged, Jessica was the only one who didn't congratulate us. But we still decided to invite her to the wedding, not wanting to create a rift in the family. The Wilsons, especially Patricia and James, Michael's parents, have always treated me well, unlike their daughter who's been spoiled by their success in medicine. Please try to include Jessica, Patricia had pleaded with me multiple times. I know she can be difficult, but she's still family. We don't want this to become a bigger issue than it needs to be. Being a nurse has taught me patience, so I agreed. Michael and I assumed she wouldn't come anyway, probably choosing to stand with Ashley instead. To our surprise, Jessica reached out with what seemed like an olive branch. I want to thank you for inviting me, her message read. I know I haven't been the most welcoming, but you're going to be family now. I can't help how Ashley feels, but I need to think about my brother and my family too. Her response wasn't ideal, mentioning Ashley multiple times, but Michael and I were cautiously optimistic. His parents were especially relieved, hoping their children could finally get along. Wedding day. Then came the wedding day. I was in the bridal suite, already in my dress, getting my makeup touched up. The room was full. My bridesmaids, Patricia, my mom, and Jessica, all getting ready together. Everything seemed peaceful until Jessica approached me with an iced coffee. Sarah, you look a bit tired. Want some coffee? I know those hospital night shifts can be rough, she said, holding out the cup. Being used to long shifts in the I should have known better than to let my guard down. But I did, accepting the coffee without thinking. As she handed it to me, I saw that familiar glint in her eye. The same look I've seen in patients who are about to do something they'll regret. In one swift motion, she flipped her wrist, and suddenly my white dress was covered in brown stains. The room froze. The coffee dripped down my bodice, the ice cubes sliding across the delicate fabric. The lower part of the dress had mostly escaped damage, but the entire front of the bodice was soaked in dark brown liquid. Immediate aftermath. Everyone in the room gasped in horror. I jumped up, my medical training kicking in, as I instinctively tried to minimize the damage, but I knew it was futile. Jessica started apologizing, but I could see her barely concealing a smirk. The same kind of satisfaction I've seen on social media influencers when they get the perfect, dramatic shot. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," she exclaimed, already reaching for her phone. "It was an accident. I lost it." After years of dealing with trauma in the keeping calm under pressure, I finally snapped. "Get that phone away from me. This isn't content for your blog." I was crying now, my professional composure completely shattered. My bridesmaids rushed to help, carefully removing the dress to take it to the hotel's laundry service. We still had an hour before the ceremony, but every minute felt precious. Only Patricia, my mom, and Jessica remained in the room. Jessica kept up her performance, apologizing while barely hiding her satisfaction. What made it worse was that she wouldn't leave, sitting there watching me cry, as if she was documenting my breakdown for later. I said, "Get out," I shouted through tears. But she stayed put, probably hoping to capture more drama for her followers. The confrontation. Finally, Patricia, who had been watching silently, spoke up. Her voice carried the authority of someone who had managed hospital departments for years. "Jessica," she said firmly, "did you deliberately spill that coffee?" Jessica's influencer facade cracked slightly. "Mom, no. It was. I saw you flip your wrist," I cut in. I was sitting completely still. "We both know what you did." When Jessica tried to argue, Patricia shut her down with the same tone she probably used with difficult hospital board members. "Be quiet. I've watched you build your entire social media presence on drama and conflict, but this crosses a line. I asked Sarah specifically to include you, thinking you could act like an adult for once. I was wrong." The dismissal. Patricia's voice grew colder, years of professional authority evident in her tone. "This behavior stops now. You're not here to create content for your followers. This is your brother's wedding, a doctor who saves lives every day, marrying another medical professional who does the same. And you just tried to ruin it for social media attention." "But Mom," Jessica started, her phone still clutched in her hand. "No. Get out. Don't show your face at this wedding, or I'll have security remove you. And I mean it. Post anything about this on social media, and there will be consequences." I was so shocked by Patricia's stern response that my tears momentarily stopped. In all our years working at the hospital, I'd never seen her this angry, not even during the worst emergency situations. Crisis management. Jessica stormed out, and Patricia immediately turned to me with the same efficiency she showed during hospital crises. "Sarah, I am so sorry. This is not what medical professionals' families do to each other. Let's focus on fixing this." My bridesmaids and the hotel staff worked on my dress like a trauma team in the quick, efficient, and focused. I spoke to Michael on the phone, trying to maintain the no seeing the bride tradition even in crisis. "Sarah, take all the time you need," he assured me, his voice carrying the same calm he used with critical patients. "The dress has to be perfect. Our guests can wait. They're all doctors and nurses anyway. They understand emergencies." The ceremony started 45 minutes late, but when I walked down the aisle, my dress was pristine. Not a trace of coffee remained. The hotel staff had performed their own kind of emergency medicine on it. Just like in the sometimes the worst crises can be overcome with the right team and quick action. Reception. The rest of the wedding was perfect. Jessica, nowhere in sight. By the time Michael and I had our first dance, I was too happy to even remember the morning's drama. We were surrounded by our hospital colleagues and friends, people who understood the value of what we do every day. Later that evening, James and Patricia approached us. James, with the gravitas of a senior physician, addressed me directly. "Sarah, I want to apologize for Jessica's behavior. If we had known she would pull something like this, trying to turn your wedding into social media content, we never would have insisted on inviting her. We've decided to cut her off until she shows genuine remorse," Patricia added. "No more enabling her behavior or her social media obsession." The aftermath. A week after the wedding, Jessica started bombarding me with messages from various accounts, each more desperate than the last. Her influencer persona completely cracked. "You're trying to replace me in the family, but you'll never succeed. You might work with Michael at the hospital, but you're not part of our world. I've already lost my brother to the medical profession, and now you're turning my parents against me too." She even admitted to the coffee incident. "I only regret not ruining your dress completely. Maybe then you wouldn't have been able to marry my brother and steal my family." I blocked her accounts, but she kept creating new ones. As an nurse, I'm used to dealing with difficult people in crisis, but this was exhausting in a different way. The confrontation call. Finally, after another fake profile message, I decided to handle this like I would an escalating situation in the I unblocked her main number and called her directly. "Listen, Jessica," I said, using my firm nurse voice. "You and Ashley can keep living in your social media bubble, creating drama for likes and followers. But some of us have real jobs, saving real lives. Your brother and I work in emergency medicine. We deal with actual life and death situations every day. Your manufactured drama means nothing compared to that. You're not worth replacing in this family because you've never actually been there for them." While Michael was studying medicine and working 24-hour shifts to save lives, you were posting selfies. While your parents were building their medical careers, you were planning your next viral post. Stop messaging me, stop creating fake accounts, and grow up. The disappearance. After my call, the messages stopped. But then Ashley reached out, claiming Jessica had gone missing, apparently having some sort of breakdown and disappearing after our conversation. Under normal circumstances, this might have worried me, but as an nurse who's seen genuine crisis situations, I knew better. Family response. Michael and I learned that Jessica was actually staying at her aunt's house, a classic pattern Patricia and James had seen before. She'd told her aunt a completely fabricated story about being kicked out of the wedding for no reason, conveniently omitting the coffee incident and her social media antics. "She's done this since high school," Patricia explained to me during a quick coffee break at the hospital. "Whenever she doesn't get her way, she disappears to relatives' houses, manipulating them with sob stories until we cave in." The return. Today, while Michael and I were working a particularly busy shift in the we got word that Jessica had shown up at her parents' doorstep, demanding an apology. She'd apparently expected her usual tactics to work. "Either you apologize, or I'm cutting off all contact," she'd threatened, probably already planning how to frame this for her social media narrative. But James and Patricia, who've spent decades dealing with real hospital crises, weren't moved. "We're not interested in talking until you apologize to Sarah and Michael," they told her. "Your social media dramatics don't work anymore." When she started causing a scene on their doorstep, they handled it with the same efficiency they use in hospital emergencies. They simply called the police and had her removed. The email. Several weeks later, while Michael and I were between emergency cases, we received an email from Jessica. Her apology read like a carefully crafted social media post, claiming she'd only been trying to be a good friend to Ashley because she truly believed Michael and Ashley were meant to be together. Michael read it during our lunch break and just shook his head. "You know what's ironic?" he said. "If she'd spent half as much energy on actual relationships as she does on her social media presence, none of this would have happened." We decided not to respond. Working in emergency medicine, you learn to prioritize what truly matters. Some patients can't be helped until they want to help themselves, and some family relationships can't be fixed until all parties are ready for genuine change. For now, Michael and I are focusing on what we do best: saving lives in the and building our life together. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is maintain professional distance, both in medicine and in family matters.